Hi, we're here at the European Summer School on Social Economy, which was organized by the University of Bologna at the Faculty of Economics in Forlì and the Research Center for Social Economy, AICCON. And we're here today with Geoff Mulgan, and we have just a few questions for you. So, what are the highlighting characteristics of a social innovator?
Well, I think of social innovation as happening as a result of lots of different types of people, lots of different types of organisations working together. So you have often the person who has a frontline job, like in a nurse or a teacher or someone involved in agriculture, who may see possibilities just because of their work. But they then may need help from someone who is more experienced with creative methods or design or prototyping to turn it into an idea. Then you may need someone else who can help turn it into a business concept, and then you need someone else who can actually scale it or demand it. So I think some of the emphasis of social entrepreneurship just on individuals was a bit misleading. Normally it's teams or networks, often with very different characteristics, who have to work together to bring an idea to fruition and to scale. But I guess they all have to have a willingness to try things out, to take risks, to experiment, to think beyond boundaries.
Very interesting. And what in your ways are the best ways to scale up social innovation?
Well, I think we think of some innovations scaling up through an organization growing big. That's the kind of the model in business. Is you have a new idea like Google or Toyota, and you just sell lots of it and you create a big organization. In the social field, most scaling doesn't happen like that. It happens through someone coming up with an idea and then other people copy it. And so you still have quite small scale operation, but large scale growth. That's mainly what's happened with microcredit or recycling, new ideas in schooling, new ideas in health. So it's quite important we don't assume that the social field is like business. In the internet you can scale something very, very fast because of the nature of the internet. You can go in 6 months from a few users to many tens of millions of users. But most things in the social field, the social economy, probably work better at smaller scale. And so it's important we don't try and grow them too big, and then they become inefficient and boring and they lose their values. And that happened a lot in the 19th century, in the 20th century, where social economy ideas became too big too quickly and then became too bureaucratic, and they became like big corporations, which are usually pretty boring.
And this is very true. Do you see that as a challenge then for the field of social innovation as a whole, or what are the opportunities for growth and the challenges that you see in the future?
I just think it's important we have the right mental model. So, as I say, if you come up with a radical new web-based model, it's okay to think of how can we scale this to hundreds of millions of people quickly. If you have, let's say, a new service idea for helping older people stay at home longer or cope with dementia, probably you need to share that, and other people will adapt it and in different ways from the ones you've come up with. If you've got a brilliant idea for educating teenagers, again, share the idea. Don't try and control it. Don't necessarily try and create an organisation which becomes multinational. We have so many different opportunities in the next 5 or 10 years for social innovation, partly because of the financial crisis, partly because of what's happening in the shape of the economy, where social fields like health and care are becoming much more important, that it would be surprising if there was only one route to impact, one route to scale. There are lots of different ones, and we just need to be very clear which one fits best the needs of the different fields.
And in your opinion, is social innovation at the moment responding effectively to the current failures of the welfare state?
I think we still have a very underdeveloped social innovation field. We've got lots of people doing great projects around the place, but we still lack proper funding. There's hardly any dedicated funds for social innovation, and those that there are very small. We're still very weak on skills as a sector. I'm struck again and again around the world that people are reinventing the wheel when it comes to skills for how you design, how you incubate, how you finance, how you grow, and that's just a symptom of a relatively underdeveloped field. We still don't have anything like enough sort of pull through purchasing power, whether in the public sector or the social sector. Business has talked a lot about social innovation but been fairly hopeless at actually providing proper support or finance compared to what was promised. So I still see a really big gap between what we could be achieving, what should be happening, and what's actually being achieved. And I think that's becoming more apparent as the crisis gets more serious. America and Europe, where the fiscal crisis is deepening, and we may well be entering another 2 or 3 years of very difficult times on the economy. So I think everyone involved in the field of social innovation needs to really redouble their efforts. We've got to get much more, perhaps more serious, much more assertive, much more demanding, both of others to create the right support and funding, but also of ourselves to raise our game in terms of how we do what we do.